first things that we do different is that we plan our year in advance. And when I say a year, I mean the entire year. Hey everybody, welcome back to Lining Up Ducks. If this is your first time joining us, my name is Rachel, this is Scott. We have 4 little girls, ages 7, 5, 3, and 2, and this is our financial journey. As promised, we are opening our finances to you. I want you to see all of our successes and all of our failures in this journey that we're taking as we go along the process of trying to save a large sum of money, $35,000 in a relatively short period of time, 9 months to 1 year. There's a few things that you're gonna need to pull together to make your financial plan for the year. First off, if you're married, you need to get the calendars of both you and your spouse. The other thing you need to get is your insurance papers. A lot of people don't budget their insurance properly, and it's a semi-annual or an annual event depending on what type of insurance policy you have.
Bank statements.
Bank statements, spending records if you keep a track of your spending. Anything that you're going to be able to take a look at what you've spent in the last year and categorize it in some way. After bank statements, your tax information, car maintenance records, kids' activities. If you don't have kids, tune out. But if you do have kids, kids' activities can take a huge chunk out of your budget every month. You also are going to need to gather all of your household bills. So your mortgage, your rent, your utility statements, medical information. So if you're anything like us, we have a lot of medical expenses in our family, and we have a large portion of our budget. We just totally dropped our stuff. A large portion of our budget.
Sorry, I went sideways because if I lean forward, the glare off the top of my head, I'm blind on.
Anyway, a large portion of our budget is taken up by medical expenses, which I will show you in detail later. Definitely think of out-of-pocket expenses as well as your monthly premiums. And the last thing you want to gather is all of your debt information. I have a link below to all of the forms that I'm using on my Etsy site, and there's a coupon code for all of my YouTube viewers to say thanks for watching our videos. So this is our financial goals worksheet. I'm not going to go into all of our financial goals in here because I don't want to bore you with all of them, but for this year, our main goal is to save for our RV. If you haven't seen our We're Moving to an RV video, I will link it in the comments below. So roughly we need to save $35,000 in 9 to 12 months. And that is going to afford us the ability to buy a used RV that's large enough for our family to live in. I really want at least $20,000 saved up by the 6 months, which is way more than half, but lofty goals take big action, and that's where we're starting.
Now, when you're doing this with your spouse or accountability partner, there will be back and forth. We spent a lot of time talking about setting these goals and went back and forth on how high do we set the bar, how low do we set it, what's reasonable, what's attainable, and that sort of thing. Okay, so the next form that we used was our monthly expense schedule.
All of these forms came out of me getting used to going from a 2 times a month pay schedule to a every 2 weeks pay schedule. There's several things that we do different. And one of them is that you need to take all of your bills and write them down in this monthly expense schedule as to when they are due. And knowing when your bills are due, you can see if you have a heavy load at the beginning of the month and a really light load at the end of the month. You can call some of the companies that send you bills in a month, and they usually are very good about working with you, adjusting your due dates as long as you're current on your bill. The next thing down below is your pay dates this year, and that's where we just highlight all of our pay dates for the year. If you've got any extra money coming in, those are just the days that you want to focus on as you are budgeting, so you can see in February, I get paid on these 2 days, and I need to look at my monthly expense schedule and see how many expenses I need to work into that particular budget. The next thing you're going to want to look at is the irregular expense planner. And this is where you write down things that are irregular expenses that are going to put a dent in your budget when they come up.
So like life insurance, car insurance, tax bill possibly, birthday gifts, anniversary, holiday gifts.
Yeah, all of those things. So here's our irregular expense planner. As you're going through your year, if you've ever used a bullet journal, this is kind of like a financial future planner to make sure that you are writing down all of the things that you think are going to come up in a particular month. We have a family birthday in January. Our insurance is due quarterly and it's due in January, April, July, and October. Sophie has surgery in Houston, which we have to travel a long distance for every 3 months. For the upcoming year, her surgeries are going to be in March, June, September, and December. So I want to make sure that I budget those in accordingly. November, you have Thanksgiving. We don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, but the kids will have school Valentines and things that they swap with their friends. Easter's in April this year. In May, we have our annual family reunion. So you get the idea. You want to write down as many things as possible on this. That way, when you sit down to do your monthly budget, you can check this and see if there's things that you may have forgotten in your annual plan that you need to add to your budget by paycheck. The next worksheet I'm going to show you in detail is our annual financial plan.
We do this worksheet at the end of every year for the next year without looking at income yet. So we just go through last year or what our rent is, all our fixed expenses, and then we start budgeting out all the things that we think we need or we know we're going to have to pay without the year without any consideration for income.
Why we do this without considering our income is it helps us focus on truly what our needs are and not what our available cash is. When we started doing it this way with no totals, we found that we actually had money left over when it came time to budget the individual pay periods. The other reason we do it this way is we always do our annual financial plan and then we sit on it for a couple of days.
Yeah,
because
and then we remember stuff.
Right.
Or
we're always texting back and forth going,
like
hey, we forgot this.
Yeah.
This year I forgot we're starting Smart Money Smart Kids for our girls,
Oh,
and
yeah. And we got
I forgot to budget in paid for
We gotta
chores.
budget it. We decided after we look at it a second time we can cut the kids' clothes budget by $100 or $200. If you do the sheet and do your plan and then sit on it for about a week or so, you will remember stuff that you forgot, or when you look back at it, you'll say, I don't need $1,000 for shoes, or I don't need, we don't need to spend $500 a pay period on dinners out or things like that. You'll find places that you can cut, and you'll also remember stuff that you forgot.
Right, and those are extreme examples, but take a look and we'll show you what we came up with our annual financial plan. If you're interested in content like this, we have a lot more videos to come. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of them.
Comment below and let us know what you think and what type of content you like.
So here's how we do our annual financial plan. This is simply a list of all of the things in your yearly budget that you can think of that you need to plan for in your year. So for instance, our rent is $14.46 and it is a monthly expense. There's 3 columns in each category. The first category, you write down what it is that you're planning on budgeting, the amount, and then this is the frequency, whether it's a monthly expense, a quarterly expense, semi-annually, or yearly expense. That way you know how frequently you need to pay that amount that you have coming up in your budget. In housing, make sure you think of things like your renter's insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your homeowner's association, all those expenses that come up throughout the year. Our renter's insurance is done annually, so I know I only have to pay that amount once every year. That's it for us in housing because we rent, so we don't have to worry about maintenance or any homeowners association dues or anything like that. Next is utilities. We have internet for $60 a month, water at $30 a month, power for $183 per month. Our cell phone is $80 a month, and I'll put Netflix in here. We don't have cable, and it's $12 a month. Next is transportation. So this is everything that you need to get to and from where you're going. So for us, that's gas. If you have car payments, I would list them over in debts instead of over here. We spend roughly $335 a month in gas, which is way higher than it needs to be. Car insurance is $768 semi-annually, and I have a $700 credit right now because I changed a whole bunch of stuff on a policy and they gave me a large credit on our insurance. So I'm going to take that and balance that out into our budget when I do our pay period planner in the next video. Then we have repairs for $110 a month. This is actually a sinking fund for us. If you watched our sinking funds video, which I will link above and in the description below, it details how we come up with these figures and what categories we use as sinking funds in our budget. Another one is tags. So your taxes and tag on your vehicle is $260, and that's an annual expense. Next is food. Aside from your housing, food is oftentimes the largest expense that you have. It's not ours. Ours is medical expenses, but food comes in at a close third. So groceries, for our family of 6, we spend $650 a month. We also do some school lunches, which ends up being about $50 a month. When my husband goes to drill, sometimes he has to go out to lunch, so we budget in $30 a month for his drill weekends, and then restaurants is about $110 a month. This is pretty controversial when you're in, if you're following the Dave Ramsey plan, as far as leaving that in your budget while you're paying off debt or doing a large amount of savings. We do have some debt that we are pausing our debt snowball on, and I'll go into that in another video. But for me as a mom of 4, this is essential to my happy, is having an easy button sometimes when things get a little chaotic. Whatever we don't spend in our restaurant budget goes to date nights for my husband and I. So it encourages me especially to not hit that easy button so he and I can have date nights. Okay, so next for us is medical, and this is one of our largest expenses. Some of these things are auto-drafted out of some of these things are withheld from his paycheck, but I wanted you to see exactly how much we pay for everything. So I'm gonna list everything out here, but you won't see it in our monthly budget. Is $308, and that's quarterly. Then we have our medical HSA, health savings account, and that is deducted automatically from his paycheck, but it adds up to about $44.20 annually. Then we have our medical insurance premiums. Those are also deducted out of every paycheck, and they add up to $67.60 annually. Then there's dental insurance, and that is $11.18 annually. So another thing we include in our medical expenses is the travel expenses that we have for Sophie's medical care. Each trip to Houston costs us roughly $500 depending on whether or not we can stay at the Ronald McDonald House. So we have to budget that in quarterly. The next one is where things get a little interesting as far as making sure you remember things, and where that irregular expense planner comes in really handy. So it's events, it's gifts, events, and Christmas. This is our individual amounts for these budget categories. If you're interested in seeing how we came to these budget amounts, put a comment below and I'll be glad to put together a video on how we came up to these amounts for each of these individual categories. So this year we have budgeted for birthdays and miscellaneous gifts. That would be $520 a year. And then Christmas is $1,200. And if you haven't seen my Christmas Budget Busters video, I will link it here and link it in the description below. And that gives you a whole list of 10 things to think of before you start planning your Christmas budget for the year. Then there's Easter at $80 for the year. Then we have school supplies for $520 for the year. And then Halloween for $50. So Halloween is one of those expenses that I cut back drastically. I decided this year that we're going to try to make our costumes as cheaply as possible instead of buying costumes to try to save money there. Okay, so the next is our savings. Now, if you do 401k or if you do IRAs, that would go here, or if you do investments, those would go here as well. For us, we're in a mass crazy large amount savings mode for our RV that we're going to be hopefully moving into before the end of the year. So we'll budget every one of Scott's drill paychecks, and he gets paid $713 per month for drill. That's his take home. So we do tithe every month. Tithing rounds out to about $6,500 a year. And then we have a kids clothing budget for $600 annually. Scott nor I have a clothing budget. We have personal money that we get every pay period that we can use however we want to use it, and clothing is included in that. Then these are all of your children expenses, all of your random things that you may come up with. Activities, diapers, all of that kind of stuff. I have one child still in diapers, so we spend roughly $40 a month on diapers and wipes. And then we are starting the Smart Money Smart Kids with our little ones, and so we're gonna have paid chores this year. This is a new thing in our budget. Hopefully I can stick to it because it will definitely make mommy's life easier. That's gonna be about $728 annually if I get it done and they get paid everything every week. And then we have a wonderful woman that teaches swim lessons for us in June every year, and that's about $260 for all 4 of the kids. Now on to pets. We only have our rabbit, and she doesn't cost us that much, but this also includes any boarding or anything that we may need for travel. We budget about $50 a month for her. Then there's just miscellaneous household expenses, and we budget $43 a month for that. That includes anything that we might need for the house. So if I need to buy a shelf for something, if I need light bulbs, or if I need plant food for my plants, anything that could possibly be for the household goes right there. And then we do have student loan debt. The payment on Scott's student loans is $470 a month. Then we have recreation. So this would be any travel or family fun money, or if you have any particular things that you like to do. Say you have family game night and you buy a new game every, so often, you can all put it right in here. We just include everything as family fun. It comes out to about $520 a year, which is about $20 a pay period for us. Okay, last is like the miscellaneous and personal. So anything that did not go in any of these other categories has a spot right here. So this is mine and Scott's personal money. It's about $108 a month for each of us. And like I said, that includes our clothes budget and anything we need. If Scott needs to go out to lunch for work, we don't get separate lunch budget money. Right now I'm throwing everything I have into my business. So this is the no questions asked. You can spend it on whatever you need to. Money. It works really well for us. It keeps a lot of money fights away because he has his own money and I have mine. It's not much, but it goes a long way for budget peace in our household. So here we have the YMCA. This is something that a lot of people are gonna say, why don't you cut the Y to save more money? But my husband has fitness requirements for his job in the military, and then Sophie has sun restrictions that she's not allowed to go out in the sun. So they have an indoor playground. So we go a lot to the Y just to use their indoor playground so Sophie can play like the other kids. That is $53 a month. And then we have blow money, and this is basically like our oops category. So if we missed something, or if we're out and about and we have the wrong envelope, this is kind of the place that we pull from, and then we'll go reimburse it with the envelope that we have at home. And we budget $100 a month for that, which is about $50 a pay period. Actually, it's $108. And that's it. So this is our financial plan for the year. And like I said, this is just a list. It's literally just a listing of all of the financial obligations that you have coming up over the upcoming year. All of these categories are meant to get you thinking about things that you may have come up throughout the year that you haven't thought of to put into your budget. If there's a common category in your budget that I've forgotten that you feel like you may be helpful to someone else, please let me know, because I am always tweaking and adjusting and learning from other people. That's how we plan our year in advance as far as our finances go. It really, really helps to take a look at your year in its entirety, because if you're just planning month to month and you're not thinking ahead 6 months sometimes, or even a year sometimes, you're gonna miss those things and you're not gonna have the money that you need when those expenses come up. Thanks for watching our annual financial plan. I've got lots of videos coming up where we go in detail about our pay period budgeting and then our January budget.
Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Leave us a comment below.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.